All right, this video is going to bring everything together and actually finish out the propagation of a chunk. Um, so what we need to do is we need to change our event graph up a little bit. We need to remove the collapse cell and propagate to next cell. We still want to keep them as functions, obviously, and get rid of the map add that was previously here. We will add in a new function called propagate collapse. Within here, we'll see that we want to do an immediate branch check on the tile options is not empty. If this is false, this is where we can add in that add to our tile options at current cell index to initialize the first cell to make sure that there is something we can pick from, and then collapse it. If this is not empty, if it's true, this is going to deal with neighbor chunks in the future, as they will inherit the continuity of their pre-existent neighbors. So if we want to collapse a left chunk, it will need to make sure it matches up with the right, and so that will give it some starting tile options. That might not make a lot of sense. When we get to chunks, it will be clarified. All right, and that just needs to connect into a reroute node like this, which all connects into a while loop with the condition of the tile options is not empty. So as long as there is something in our tile options, as long as there is a cell that can be collapsed that will be stored in the tile options, then we want to run a loop that will find it and collapse it. And that loop is going to be the propagate to next cell. So all of these things will work together very fluidly to continuously collapse our entire chunk and finish it out. Down here, I've added in something to consider, especially if you want to figure things out more on your own. If you're doing a lot of debugging and implementation of new things by yourself, I'd recommend adding in something like this. It's a what is it called? Like a failsafe, where we have a variable called failed. We want to check that it's not failed, and with this condition, and then you could set this in various stages within the propagation or following the propagation. You can also set it within your player controllers, so you can have a button that will set this to be true, and that will stop the while loop. As there are many times with debugging that we will run into an infinite loop where something always stays in here, and then we break our blueprint and Unreal gets very sad. All right, so as I just said, the loop body will be that propagate to next cell from the last video, and on completed, we will just spit out propagation complete. So we can go ahead and run it, and we'll see just like that. Took a second, but that's okay. We will see that we have the environment as collapsed. And while this might not look the prettiest, it has worked, and that's fantastic. This is something we can work with, and we can take this very far. So everything has come together now, and we see that all of our cells are collapsing in a way that maintains a fluid, continuous manner that does not break any tile rules and looks okay-ish. Now, from here, there's a lot of things we can do. The next two videos, I will cover actually adding in tile weights, so we can affect what we would maybe like to get spawned more or chosen more. And we will add in seeds, so we can have seeds that allow us to it's a set seed, so things will collapse the same within a given seed. If you have a seed number 1, it will always be the same, so that helps a little bit with debugging. And then after that, I will take a little bit of a pause for probably like 2 weeks, as I will be traveling to the Mediterranean. It's kind of fun. And in that time, I will work on deciding and cleaning up even further plans, as moving into multiple chunks and even what I call a post-propagate flattening, where we can take these kind of weird little holes and even a hole like this or even something like this, and we can flatten it out better and make things look a little nicer. That takes quite a bit of math and logical understanding of what's going on. So I will need to work on cleaning that up and organizing my own thoughts. And then, as I was saying, with adding in additional chunks, so if we want to have a chunk below, to the left or right, that adds in layers of complexity that I will just need to clean up on my own end. But that will be kind of the future of this series. So we've gotten to a point where with just this, you could probably take this to your own place. It might be a little bit difficult, and I definitely won't be ending here. So just stay tuned if you like the series. And as always, feel free to ask any questions. If you notice any glaring issues or bugs within my code, please tell me. I have worked on this for a very long time, and it should work quite well, and it should work with any tile sets that you give it, as long as your rules are perfect, as long as you've gone through and made sure everything does match up properly on your own end with the tile rules. That is the biggest um, place in which this will fail. But no matter how complex, how many tiles you might have, this should be able to handle it, as long as you deal with the confines that I've given, where you just have a top, right, bottom, and left neighbor. This all should dynamically function enough to work out. So I hope everything works, and please, as always, ask me questions. I will see you in the next video.